What if every single step in your CI/CD pipeline, every commit, every build, every deploy, produced a completely tamper-proof audit trail? Today, we're going to break down a system that aims to do exactly that. We're talking about moving security beyond just simple alerts and into the realm of verifiable, forensic-ready evidence. So let's get into it. I want you to think about the last time you had to do an incident response. You had logs, sure. You probably had a ton of alerts. But did you have irrefutable proof, a chain of evidence that could actually stand up to intense scrutiny? For most of us, if we're being honest, the answer is no. And that's the huge forensic blind spot we're exploring today.
And that's where this whole concept comes in. Being forensic ready isn't about what you do after a breach. It's a fundamental design choice. It's about architecting your systems from day one to proactively collect and preserve evidence. The goal is that when an incident happens, you're not scrambling to find clues. You're simply opening a well-documented case file.
Okay, so why is this forensic-ready idea so critical for CI/CD in particular? Well, it turns out that the very things that make our pipelines so powerful, all that speed and automation, are the exact same things that create this massive forensic blind spot. Look, your current monitoring tools are probably great at telling you about performance metrics, right? CPU usage, deployment failures, that kind of thing. But they were never built to answer the tough questions. Questions like, can you prove mathematically that this build artifact wasn't tampered with after it was created? Or, who accessed this secret, and can we verify that the log of that access is authentic? This gap between performance data and actual forensic proof is exactly what this system is designed to fill.
So the solution we're looking at is really built on four main pillars. First, you've got agents that are collecting forensic-grade evidence. Second, there's a machine learning engine that's constantly looking for anomalies. Third, and this is crucial, there's cryptographic verification to make sure that evidence is totally tamper-proof. And finally, a reporting portal that ties it all together with a clear chain of custody. We're going to walk through each one of these.
First up, let's talk about the front line, the collection agents and the anomaly detection engine. You can think of this as the system's early warning mechanism. It's designed to spot suspicious activity before it can escalate into a major incident.
So what is this anomaly engine actually looking for? Well, it's trained to spot anything that deviates from the normal baseline. This could be something like a developer who suddenly starts committing code at 3 in the morning, or maybe a new dependency that's just one letter off from a popular library, a classic typo squatting attack. It also looks for things like malicious commands being injected into a build script. And it goes deeper too, analyzing logs from systems like HDFS and Hadoop to detect both unknown anomalies and well-known failure patterns.
Now, the intelligence behind this comes from a really powerful, two-pronged machine learning strategy. On one side, you have supervised learning. This acts like a detective who has a list of known suspects. It's trained on labeled data to recognize very specific, known threats. But on the other side, you have unsupervised learning. This is more like a beat cop who knows their neighborhood so well they can spot anything that just feels off. This is how it catches novel, zero-day attacks that have never been seen before.
Okay, but collecting all that data is really only half the battle. For any of this to actually count as evidence, its integrity has to be absolutely guaranteed. And that brings us to our next section, cryptographic proofs, which act as the digital locks on all our evidence. This right here is the absolute core principle of digital forensics. You see, an alert from a log file, that's just an observation. But a cryptographically signed log file, with its integrity verified by math, now that is evidence. Without this proof, any data you collect can be questioned or worse, dismissed during an investigation.
So here's the cryptographic toolset the system uses to guarantee that integrity. You've got SHA-256 hashing to create a unique fingerprint for everything, from individual log entries to entire software bills of materials. Then you have ED25519 digital signatures, which are chosen specifically because they're super high performance, which is critical in a fast-moving CI/CD environment. And for verifying huge collections of files really efficiently, the system uses Merkle trees, which is a clever data structure that lets you verify an entire set of files with just a single root hash.
This simple three-step workflow provides a super powerful guarantee we call non-repudiation. First, a key pair is generated. The private key is kept totally secret. Second, that private key is used to sign an artifact or a piece of evidence. Finally, anyone in the world can use the public key to verify that signature. If that verification passes, you have mathematical proof that the artifact is authentic and that it came from the owner of that private key. It's airtight.
All right, now we get to bring it all together. We have the evidence and we've proven its integrity.
The final piece of this puzzle is managing all this evidence in a structured way that's ready for a real investigation.
This is really where all the hard work pays off. The chain of custody and reporting portal takes all those raw evidence items, all the anomaly alerts, and all the integrity proofs, and it organizes them into a coherent narrative. It's the difference between having a shoebox full of random clues and a detective's perfectly organized, ready-to-go case file.
Let's just walk through a quick, practical example of how this would look. At 2 minutes past the hour, a developer pushes a commit with a suspicious dependency. Just 1 minute later, the anomaly engine flags it. The build still runs, but the artifact it produces is immediately signed and hashed. By 10 past, a complete evidence package is created, documenting every single step. And just 5 minutes after that, a full forensic report is generated and ready for the incident response team. That's speed and certainty working together.
And this isn't just some random ad hoc process that was cooked up. The entire system, from the way evidence is collected to how it's reported, is designed from the ground up to align with established digital forensic standards, things like ISO 27037 and NIST SP 886. This is so important because it ensures the evidence isn't just technically sound, but it's also credible and aligns with industry best practices.
So, what does this all mean for the future of DevSecOps? When you put it all together, it really represents a fundamental shift in how we think about security inside the pipeline. Ultimately, this whole approach represents a huge step up for our security posture. We're shifting away from a reactive model that's full of noisy, often inconclusive alerts, and moving toward a proactive state of continuous verification. The end goal here is a softer supply chain where every single step produces a verifiable, immutable audit trail.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. Think back to your last major security incident, or even just a really confusing production bug. How much faster could you have gotten to the root cause? How much more confident would you have been in your findings if you had a cryptographically verified, unassailable chain of evidence to work with? That's the power of building forensic readiness directly into your CI/CD pipeline.